Listen to Chestnut Tree on KPFT, Houston, 90.1 and HD1, or also in Galveston, Goodrich, Livingston, online via the KPFT.org. We also have, hopefully you just heard the set performed by Astrogenic Hallucinauting here on KPFT. If you missed it, we'll post it for you because it was very nice. But he's here in the studio to talk to us a bit about this project and other projects here. And he's a local artist in Houston, so he came by. I wanted to thank you, first of all, for coming by this early in the morning or this late at night, depending, to play on the show.
Oh, well, I'm up, ooh, that's loud.
Oh, that's good.
I'm up late anyway, so these are the
Yay.
bewitching hours of making noise and doom.
Cool. So this specific project, how long have you been doing this?
Astrogenic Hallucinauting, I started back in 1986, right around there. So it's been a while. It's probably the one project I've had that's lasted the longest out of all the different bands I've been in and stuff. But I guess you can't break up with yourself.
Thank God. Yeah. So how is this different from some of your other projects?
Actually, all my projects are quite a bit different. Extremely different, in fact. I have fans of one project that doesn't, that don't like the other projects at all, or, you know, vice versa. This project is my black ambient drone noise thing. Then I have Morgue City, which is a rock band, dark electronic rock sort of outfit that's a duo. And that's like, I play live drums in that, and I have a guitar player, singer. And we play with, you know, I have a click track and all that. So we have backing tracks, bass and keys and noise stuff, you know, so... And then I have a relatively new project with an amazing viola player here in town named Joe Bird. This project's called Fiddle Witch. And yeah, that's, I'm actually classically trained and in percussion and everything. And Joe Bird is making me work to play this material. So it's going to be really, really, really cool stuff once we get it out into the... wild and
what
stuff.
Is Fiddle Witch like?
Fiddle Witch is like, I'm on drums, and these are like epic length songs. There's no real pop songs in this project. Fiddle Witch has like 8 minutes is a short song for Fiddle Witch, and there are odd meters and unknown starts and stops happening all over the place, and like I said, she's making me work, making me earn my keep.
So when you came here before the show, you were talking to Bill Bates and some of those folks.
Yes.
In Sweet Nightmares, and I was wondering how you...
Oh, actually, my old band actually moved here to Houston with in 1992 was called Childman, and that was an industrial death outfit. So I was playing the drums in that project as well, and the approach with that project is I was mimicking actually what a drum machine would play, playing that live. And we had it was real heavy music and, well, industrial death, so that should explain it there. But live sample noise stuff going on, sampler player, and guitars, bass, and vocals. But yeah, just all real intense band, real heavy.
And then let's see. What you played for tonight for us, could you talk a little bit about that? Just
sure. Well, with Astrogenic Hallucinauting, I tend to design what I call a circuit. I like to use a lot of different noise toys, pedal effects. As of last year, I got into the modular synth madness, and I you know, drum machines, things like that. Lots of audio manipulation type things, and kind of design a circuit for a performance. So every time I perform, it's a little bit different, or quite a bit different. And generally with that project, I tend to stay in the more brooding mood, like I described earlier, black ambient drone noise sort of stuff. I like to take elements of what some of my friends' style of music, power noise and things like that, and kind of lace them into this kind of stuff, and kind of set this kind of sonic landscape, or I've kind of described it like making sonic mobiles sort of thing. So
it did sound like that.
Oh,
that's a perfect
cool.
way to that's it did. Let's see, do you have any upcoming shows?
Yes. I'm performing at Super Happy Funland on Saturday with Dirty Christmas, and you know what? I don't have the flyer here with me. There's 2 other acts performing with us as well. And that's going to be a mix of some really interesting stuff. Dirty Christmas is actually a couple of members, or a member from Fiscadoro, and those guys are really, really cool. A lot of circuit bent stuff, you know, that they like to mess with, and it should be a really, really interesting show with a lot of different approaches, you know, sonic and stuff, sonic approaches and things. So.
Morgue City, could you describe that a little more? You mentioned
Sure.
it, but that was before I started asking.
Sure. Morgue City is, like I said, is a dark rock kind of thing. I guess I always send people to the website, morguecity.net. They can see the video and really listen to it. But I guess it's that that particular project is pretty produced. We have we call our third Beatle, I guess, in a sense, our producer Brian, who really takes these songs that we put together. You know, we really like to go for hooks, catchy, but not. It's that fine line of being a musician and you know, making something commercially accessible. And with that project, that's kind of what we try to do, is like, yeah, it would be nice to have some success that's bigger, something that's a bigger piece of the industry instead of such a niche sort of thing. Like with Astrogenic, that's very niche. I'd like to say there's a lot of fans out there, and it's growing. Let's say it's growing for the black ambient you know, fan base. But with Morgue City, it's, I guess, more accessible to a wider audience more easily. And but like I said, it's a fine line to create something that's commercially accessible and still feel like I'm not selling out. I'm a musician's musician. I'm trying to write things in that vein. So.
Since you've been in Houston, like you said, since 1992 performing, the scene, you know, people always ask about the Houston scene. I was wondering your views on that, either, you know, how it's changed, or say as much or as little as you'd like.
Ooh, okay. You know, it ebbs and flows like anything. It seems cyclical in many respects. When we moved here, we made some of the some really great friendships with some other musicians. A band called the Joint Chiefs used to play with Childman all the time, and all of those people have been friends of mine over all these years. And there's you know, so there's some of these relationships we made, but then it kind of got to the point to where it was like kind of very competitive with a lot of the other bands, or, you know, not so supportive. And then it kind of went back the other direction, where it's like, hey, we made friends with some of these newer bands, and they're real supportive. And with all the different bands I've been in over the years, you know, I've seen the good and bad of that. One of my old projects that I generally don't talk about in public anyways, but we became pretty successful. We were selling numbers out, you know, and stuff like that. And it was really cool, and we made some relationships with other bands that had a great draw, and it was really filling the house, and we were, you know, selling out numbers, and it was great. And then that kind of, you know, when that band folded, it seemed like everything kind of dispersed again, you know, like didn't have the other projects I was in didn't seem to have that same, you know, draw like that project did and stuff. And then now it's starting to go the other direction again. It's like Morgue City's getting more fans. We're starting to build up, you know, a bigger fan base, and actually, Astrogenic Hallucinauting, I generally would only perform and do these, you know, kind of work on this project once in a while. It was a very personal kind of thing. And now over the past few years, I've released a whole slew of material, and then I've had all these opportunities to perform. Like there's good friend of mine, Paul Connolly. He does a program called Brave New Waves, which actually was tonight. And
did you go?
It was, oh yeah, I was there. I thought you were going. Weren't you going?
I wanted to be there.
Oh, okay.
My heart sank when you said that because I was working, but...
Oh, well, that's okay. It was an excuse.
Yeah, well, he records them, thankfully. Yeah. I did want to be there, but I'll go to the next one.
Oh, yeah. Not to miss. But it was a really great show tonight. And
well, I'm glad it was good.
Yeah, it was really, really good. And he really always puts together a great program. You know, it's very informative, and the artists that he presents in Brave New Waves tend to be really extremely different. And then there's of course They Who Sound, you know, Dave Dove with the improv scene and all that stuff. That has its own circle of people, and I performed at some of those events. In fact, I'll be performing with Paul next month, I believe, on the 10th for They Who Sound. And that's at Avant Garden, and that's going to be really cool. Interesting kind of scenario going on there, because I'm going to be actually, I hate to say this, because as you can see, I use all hardware, modular synths and pedals and all that. I'm actually going to be dabbling with using a laptop. Oh, I will still have hardware though. So I'll make up for it. There will still be actual hardware, but yes, the blaspheme of the PC. It won't look like I'm up there just checking my email or something like that. So I promise.
Oh, okay. Oh no.
I know. No, I don't want to go down that road. No, I don't. But there's a particular. An app or two in a particular device called the Monome, which has kind of drawn me toward dabbling with with a laptop, with a MacBook on stage. So
why was that the thing that turned you over to
the Monome is a really interesting interface, because it's a grid interface. You know, so you just have this grid of 64 squares on this little box. And people write these pieces of software that interact, that you control with this little grid, and it's like each little app has its own little features and stuff like that. And there was this one particular app called the Party Van, real funny name, that lets you kind of like grab sounds, you know, like pick up things off of a microphone or whatever, and then start manipulating them with the little grid of 64 buttons, and playing sounds backwards and forwards, or slowing them down, or playing glitch pieces of them where it almost sounds like a Pansonic or Autechre, or you know, some glitch IDM kind of approach to things. And I love the subtlety that I can get out of it, and then also you can push it to where it gets, you know, somewhat aggressive and things like that. But you know, like I said, on that performance, I will be using a laptop, but there will be other actual hardware involved.
Sounds like more than a laptop.
Yes, a lot more than a laptop if I'm involved with it.
There's also good laptop music.
Yeah, it's just not something you want to pay to go see. I mean, yes, Amon Tobin would be awesome to go see, but look at that massive, gigantic visual thing he had to build around him. And even then, it still looks like a guy sitting up there in the middle of it, checking his mail, or, you know, I don't know what he's doing, you know, it's like, I don't know, man. It just doesn't do it for me. But I guess that's because I'm a percussionist, you know. So, you know, I like to have a tactile interface. You know, I play an instrument you hit. So with doing electronic music, I like to be able to, you know, buttons and knobs and cables and all that. It's something you can actually touch, as opposed to just a mouse and you're virtually touching buttons on the screen. Not as fun. It's not as satisfying.
So, as far as like dark ambient, as you're saying, you're playing more of that at Houston. That's getting to be? Is that a Houston getting to be more of thing, or is it?
You know, there's a few other artists out there that kind of dabble in this stuff. You know, there's and they, you know, everybody has their own different approach. And I've heard, you know, I've met with other artists. In fact, there was one tonight from Austin that performed at the Brave New Waves, and he's amazing. He was really amazing. It was inspiring to listen to him. And Chad, I'm talking about you if you're listening. But his was very dark, dark ambient sort of stuff. There's another performer actually tonight as well that he performs as the Gray Cell, James. His stuff is very, very dark and minimalistic, and he only uses a few pieces of gear. He kind of makes me look silly, because just with a few pieces of gear, he makes all this nice, beautiful, kind of lush, black, dark noise, and I've got like 30 things I'm trying to do the same thing with, you know. So I guess it's who's using it. So yeah, there's a few running around here. You know, I wouldn't say it's real prolific, because some of the other electronic, it's like everyone has their own kind of approach, and with the software they use or the hardware they use, and it's so unique. Like with what I set up for each one of my performances, it's always completely different. You know, I decide to use different pedals or a different device, or I use the modular or I don't, and you know, I might use, like, actually I have an Atari 2600 that was built for me for live performance use, and you know, I'll use that with a couple of Atari cartridges, and you know, things get weird. So yeah.
And that's under the Astrogenic, or okay.
Yeah, that's all Astrogenic Hallucinauting stuff. Okay. So
so you said you moved here 1992. You guys were, where were you before that?
I was in, I call it Carcass Crusty. Other people call it Corpus Christi. But yeah, it's yeah.
And you guys were playing there?
Yeah, that's where we're all originally from. Childman was.
How was that?
Yeah. That was crazy because you know, Carcass is a great place to go slow down and die. And you know, so, but back then we really had this crazy music scene going on, and in fact there's a documentary that was made out of it, which was really cool. A friend of mine's working on it right now, but there was a lot of out of this one short era of time back home, all these musicians kind of blew up into all these other things. I'm still wondering when it's my turn, but one of the musicians I know, he was in Nine Inch Nails. Another guy, he was in Ministry. You know, so like all these, you know, they, another friend of mine, actually a bandmate of mine, went on to be the sound man for Martin Medeski and Wood, and he's a major audio engineer, and I guess everybody works for Apple computers now, but the rest of my friends, but yeah, I mean, there was out of this one kind of short period of time back home, it was kind of this explosion with this really unique music, and you know, all these great musicians that just kind of, you know, blew up and went on to things. And I decided to move here with Childman instead of Austin. And
why?
Opportunities. Back then there was first of all, there was an audio engineering degree that I was going for here. And then also my first job here was at the Drum Keyboard Guitar Shop, which used to be the world's biggest drum shop. And it was such an awesome experience to work there. And plus the Houston's greatest drummer was the owner, Keith Carnegie. He's he's so crazy that he'll lose me when he's playing. You know, he'll just go off playing, you know, like in a jazz set or something, and it's just like, oh my God, he'll lose me. And then he'll come back on the one. I'm like, how did you do that? I don't know. He's awesome. He's crazy, but he's awesome.
So the Corpus Christi, the big, why
did that happen? Or
yeah.
You know, I don't know. We were bored. We were really bored. Small city, nothing to do other than like go get in trouble and like burn the high school down or something, you know, or, you know, whatever. Just random acts of violence, setting fire to a few bombs. I don't know. I mean, just like crazy. And so we all kind of went a little crazy. And what else is there to do than other, you know, if you pick up an instrument, well, there's nothing else to do but practice a lot. And things just developed from there, you know. And I had, at one time I had 5 bands when I was living there. So I had a child band, my first band, which was called Nimbus, a true industrial band, as in like not with the watered down stuff that people talk about these days, you know, like, oh, this is industrial. No, it's not. If you don't have a jackhammer and concrete and 55-gallon barrels and somebody really getting hurt on stage, then you're not industrial. You're just some jerk with a drum machine and a keyboard. Just shut up, please. But that band was called Selk, and we were actually banned from the city from ever performing again because we destroyed a stage at a public function.
With a jackhammer?
No, with our bare hands. Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting. And then then I had LMPK, which was a cybergrind outfit, which was like just you'd have to hear LMPK. It's just violence. And then one joke band, which was the joke band that band actually made money. It was called Disco Kickers. I took the 2 styles of music I hated the most and stuck them together and made offensive dance music, which is a project that I actually still have laying around. There's actually a song I'm working on as we speak. It's a new offensive anthem, I guess, of some sort. So, you know, ready for the dance floors and disgusting, gross.
What's their scene like now?
Back in Carcass? There's some bands doing some stuff. There's actually a pretty good a club there, club or two there that have really decent kind of, you know, venue for live performance and stuff. But my friends that are there, it's not like what it was, you know, nowhere near. No.
So what venues here do you prefer? Or
prefer to, of course, the Love Numbers, you know, goth scene, hello, you know, and Rudyard's. Joe at Rudyard's is an awesome sound guy. He just makes, Morgue City tends to play at Rudyard's quite often, and Joe makes us always sound perfect. And let's see, Super Happy Fun Land, of course, to do noise stuff there. I always love playing there, and Brian and everybody there is awesome, you know.
What do you like about there the most?
Super Happy Fun Land?
Mm-hmm.
Anything goes. Anything goes. And there's a pizza truck out back. So, yeah.
Do you have any Super Happy Funland stories?
Let's see. There was a noise show. Let's see. What show was that? I don't know if it was a Dead Audio Music Festival or not, but it was a big noise show, and we were all standing around this guy doing this power noise set, and he was just so into it, just like, it was so intense, and we're just egging him on like a mob, screaming around this guy just for more violence, and just, And the guy jumps up onto the stage, like he was standing on the floor, and he jumped up onto the edge of the stage where all his pedals were, and just stomped on them, like smashed them, and one of them shot across and caught me right in the shin, and it was, it hurt so bad, and it left a mark, but it was so awesome.
Did he break his pedals, or?
Oh yeah, there was a few that were smashed into oblivion, you know. It was intense. It was really intense. Yeah.
That's industrial then, right?
Well, yeah, that could be. And there was another performer, this crazy chick that was, it was actually a Dead Audio Music Festival, and she had like a piece of metal with pickups on it and a couple of antlers. and she was wearing this crazy outfit, and it was kind of like, wow, that's kind of sexy, but disturbing, but sexy, but that's disturbing. And she had antlers, and they were, oh yeah, it was weird. I liked it.
Neat. Was that this year you said? Or?
No, that was a couple of years ago.
Oh,
that was a few years ago. Yeah.
Neat.
Yeah.
Have you performed? You've been on KPFT before.
What did I do here? No, we just did like an interview or something. Yeah, I did an interview.
Has it changed at all?
It looks kind of similar, except for, wasn't that a window?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's covered up now. Yeah, it's different. Oh, I forgot to mention, I also played with JANDEK.
Oh.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that?
Oh, that was interesting. He's awesome. He's really cool. And it was kind of one of those things I was kind of thrown into. And there's no, like, rehearsal. You rehearse with him the day of the show. About 4 hours before doors.
Like at his house or at the venue?
No, at the venue. You show up with your gear. He shows up. You jam. All right, lunch. See you in about 4 hours. And then they open the doors. It's very fly by the seat of your pants. And the particular show we did, it was April Fool's Day. And he wanted like this electronic thing, you know, with strobe lights and stuff. And actually a friend of mine, Mike Noss, who's known as Vertigo Blue, really, really cool guy, very knowledgeable of synthesizers and stuff and music business in general. I love talking to him about that stuff. He kind of got me involved with it because one of my old, I interned at Sugar Hill Studios, and so one of my mentors, Andy Bradley, had contacted Mike about doing synthesizer stuff for this particular JANDEK show. And he goes, he was talking to Mike, and he goes, we need somebody that's like an industrial percussionist. And then Mike immediately was like, yeah, you need to call Spike the percussionist. And Andy was like, wait, Spike? Oh my God, yeah, give me his number. Oh, yeah, he, you know, totally. Houston, giant small town, you know. So I was kind of, you know, brought in that way, and that was it. And the rest is history. It was a great show. It was awesome. It was really loud. They had a full giant PA with lots of low frequency support stuffed into Big Star.
Did he like it?
Oh yeah, yeah. It was great. He was very happy with what I was doing. I brought a lot of drum machine rhythm devices and stuff, so I was just doing all the electronic percussion sort of things, and he seemed very happy.
Is there a recording of that somewhere?
Yes, there is. They recorded it and everything. I don't know what the release schedule is. It's probably on JANDEK's website. I know recently he was actually, I guess it's this month, he's on the cover of The Wire. And I think he's in Europe or something, or England, right, as we speak, unless he got back. They just did a performance over there, so.
Someone shot our window out.
What? When?
Well, a few years ago, but that's where it went.
Oh.
I thought I should mention it, but we have I guess it's a double stack of 2x4s or something. We have a kind of a makeshift. We're safe in here.
You should put like a lead shield up or something. I don't know.
Something.
Yeah, something. Maybe some steel.
They ripped our burlap. Look.
What? Oh my! Wow! They just went crazy in here, huh?
They did. There was a Zydeco lady in here.
And they went after her? They didn't like her?
They just wanted to shoot the window out, and that's just who happened to be here. I guess, you know, maybe you hear something you don't like, and by the time you get down here, it might be another show. So
you should move quick.
You should be nice.
Yeah.
And not do that. But
no,
also,
don't shoot out the windows at the radio station. That's just not cool.
But I thought I should mention that, since that did change, and that was folks can look that up. That's a pretty big deal.
Wow.
Yeah.
On-air violence.
Well,
yikes.
On-air violence, blowing up transmitters, all kinds of things. For KPFT, it's true.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Yikes.
They did that.
Yee. She's thinking.
I know. I'm trying to think of a good question, because there's a lot of...
Favorite movie? Blade Runner. Yep. That's it.
Because we covered some basics in the beginning just to get folks kind of caught up, and myself as well. But yeah, the Corpus Christi thing really got me. I thought that
really?
That was weird.
Why? Why did that get you?
When I think of, I guess I was really tiny when I went there, but I think of like the tall beach,
the seawall,
the tourist buildings, the little, where all of them face the beach, so the buildings
oh
are
yeah,
like weird and crooked and
yeah, that is weird.
And beach, and I don't know. I guess that's a stereotype.
Yeah.
But I just didn't think, the folks you mentioned. If you had asked me, I would never have thought.
I know that they came out of that town.
Yeah.
Yep. Very strange.
So, any other Houston music or that you like?
Ooh. Favorite heavy band here in town is called Bowel. Those guys are awesome.
Bowel is in, like, your bowels?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Bowel.
There's different kinds of bowels.
Yeah. No, just Bowel.
Okay.
Yeah. Those guys are, those brutal, heavy, awesome. Let's see. Of course, like, I really like what Paul does, Paul Connolly. He's extremely active, lots of electronic craziness. Illicit Relationship. They are amazing. I've actually been bugging them about doing a split 7-inch for quite a while now and do some vinyl. Of course, for noise stuff, Black Leather Jesus, Richard Ramirez, that whole clan, they're amazing. Those guys are going on a European tour.
Yay!
Yeah, talk about taking the Houston violence out to Europe. Yay!
Yeah, they made me sign up for Kickstarter.
Oh, there you
go. They did, and then the Kickstarter got hacked. But that's cool. Yay! Yeah, you guys. Well, Illicit Relation. A few folks you mentioned. You guys were on the Houston composite CD that we had.
Oh yeah. That was really cool.
That was,
Thanks for putting that together. That was awesome.
That was neat because we had ambient and noise and field recordings and all these different things. Everybody sent either a track or a noise or a partial track, and it was kind of like I guess artist curated, so it was like I didn't know what sounds I would get, and it was kind of hard to bridge some of the ambient and the noise until you sent your track.
Oh.
Yeah, I was moving a lot. It was like I'm ashamed of how many layers there were. I think there's more than 40 or so, but there were like these layers, and I was scooting them around, and towards the end, you said, "Oh, Paul Conley." I think was it Paul? It was so. I can't remember who told you about it. You said
somebody told me about it.
Somebody told you when you sent it.
Yeah.
And I heard it, and then all the other layers fell into place.
Yay!
And I was like,
I was the glue.
Oh, I was scared. But it was cool because it was such a big spectrum of stuff. But yeah, I was scared, and then that made it okay. So.
Oh, awesome! I was glad to help.
Yeah, thank you, because it was huge, huge bunch of work. But yeah, Illicit Relationship. Will you talk about those folks for a bit?
Oh, sure. Austin and Carol. Their stuff, they like me. They use a lot of hardware, a lot of noise toys, and some other things. And their stuff is in that same vein of black ambient, dark, very mood oriented kind of stuff. And their live performances are always really interesting. And they use everything from, like I was saying, like pedals and other little effect boxes to metal, kind of like I think it's a magazine stand or something that Austin has with contact mics on it. But it sounds really cool when he's playing on it. And I've seen Carol use everything from like a door hinge to some bells to it's always different with her. I don't know. It's just one thing after the other, but she'll bring out all sorts of crazy little pieces of metal and objects from their home, and then process them through a bunch of effect pedals and stuff like that, and sometimes does some voice stuff, and it's very ethereal, but it has this nice dark kind of warm feeling to it and stuff. So
I guess a public service announcement would be that they have the most awesome foster cats. They're always rescuing and helping out foster cats. So if you're an Illicit Relationship fan, you might not know that, and you might be interested in having a famous foster cat.
There you go.
Yeah. What about Black Leather Jesus? Will you talk about him a little bit?
Oh, that group, they've turned into an orchestra, I guess, now. That's Richard Ramirez. He's mainly power noise stuff. And that group is like Richard, his boyfriend Sean, Austin, Carol's in it, Tanner. I know Dom has been in it from time to time. Gosh, who else is it? Thomas from RU486. He has a real intense noise outfit. We've talked about doing some stuff together. Gosh, I don't know. Oh, Zach. And it's like, it seems like it's like 6 to 8 people going for it, and it's industrial noise, super power noise, just it's so intense, and they just go for it. It's like it's unnerving, which is it's so enjoyable.
Yay. Neat. Any other type of music you like here? I mean, we have Houston it's known for different types of music.
Oh yeah,
the chopped and screwed or the spruced.
I'm not into that stuff at all.
No,
like zero.
Even though you like the low, the low.
Yeah. I mean, it's just I just didn't like it. Nope, big old zero. I mean, I'm really like I come from like my Bible in the late 80s was Lonely as an Eyesore. So bands like Diff Juz, which is that drummer is one of my holy trio of influences, Richard Thomas. But, on that one album, Lonely as an Eyesore had Dead Can Dance, Wolfgang Press, Cocteau Twins, all that stuff. And so that's such a heavy influence on me. And then I'm a huge David Sylvian fan. I love the Matt Johnson is a freaking genius. The spin-off of Talk Talk, Orang, love that group. And of course Autechre and Aphex and all those bands and all that stuff. With the styles of music here, there's a few bands that I like a lot, that might be other rock outfits or some bizarre sort of, performance thing. And then, of course, the electronic scene. And in the improv scene, a lot of the musicians here, like Thomas Helton, oh, man, what a monster bass player. And, of course, Keith Carnegie, Seth Painter, who's just amazing. He plays actually him and Thomas have their band, the Core Trio. Amazing group. And there's I mean, like some of the stuff that people are just like, and like the DJ Screw, whatever. It's not my thing. It just, no, I'm kind of, no.
Neat. Well, there's a whole bunch of things that if you didn't know and you're in Houston, if you're listening via the KPFT.org, you could be looking up all that. I would be typing all that in so I could look it up later. Stuff here and there. You said you had a holy trio.
Oh, yes. My holy trio of drummers, which starts with Terry Chambers, the original drummer for XTC. Bill Bruford, of course, who originally was in Yes, and then King Crimson, and then a solo performer, as well as he had a band called Earthworks. And Richard Thomas of Diff Juz, which is a very... everyone should know the band Diff Juz, but not everyone does. They were the most amazing music ever, pretty much. It was... two brothers on guitar and a bass player, Gary Bromley, and Richard Thomas. So Alan and David Curtis, and then Gary and Richie. And those 4 made some of the most, I just can't get enough of, I never get tired of listening to it. And as it turns out, it's also the favorite band of the bass player for the Cocteau Twins, Simon Raymond. So.
Is there anything else that you'd like to talk about? It's general, but...
I helped get someone into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
How'd you do that?
I was working with a group of people to help get Johnnie Johnson into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame years ago. Everybody knows who Chuck Berry is. Most people don't know who Johnnie Johnson is.
I was going to ask. I was afraid.
Yep. So Johnny hired Chuck back in 1951 for New Year's because one of his bandmates was sick, and it used to be the Johnnie Johnson Trio. Became the Chuck Berry Trio.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he kind of took it over, and he took most of the credit for the music that Johnny actually wrote. Actually, Keith Richards is a big fan of Johnnie Johnson, and one of the things that he says, and actually I helped put together like a little video thing when we were trying to get him into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, is Keith summed it up with, he was like talking about the music, like these Chuck Berry songs, they're not in guitar keys. They're like in B flat and stuff like that. Well, those are piano keys. Nobody writes a rock song in B flat on guitar, you know? And so all these songs are in piano keys, and they're like, wait a minute, this wasn't written by a guitar player. This was someone who took what was being written on the piano and adapted it to guitar. And voila. So, but we did get him in there.
Yay.
Johnny did pass away a few years ago, several years ago, but we did get him into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And he was actually inducted with Elvis's guitar player by Keith Richards.
Neat.
So, yeah, had my little part in that. So, yay.
That's good. Yay. Neat. So mention your show again that's coming up.
Oh, yes. Saturday, the 22nd, over at Super Happy Funland, with Dirty Christmas and a couple other projects, which everybody should go onto the Facebook and look me up, or look for the event, or go to the calendar on superhappyfunland.com. And,
which is crazy. If you haven't looked at it, you should
yeah.
look at it, because it's crazy. I used to get it just so I could look at it. I was on the list, and I was like, yeah. All the little, you should look.
Yeah.
You should look.
Oh, and my website is actually manipulate.net, and so that's news on me.
Oh, no.
If you want to know all the stuff there is to know about me, then, yeah, you can go there. One-stop shop.
Okay, yeah. And, if you're driving and stuff like that, I guess you can go to radiochestnut.org. And I've been writing down links the whole time that I can put on there, so you can...
Yay.
You could figure it out, and, link to the show coming up. And find a link for the show that happened tonight that was great, that I missed.
Oh, well.
But that's cool.
You'll get to hear it.
Yeah, and I'm glad it was good.
Oh, it was great.
I'll have to go to the next one. But yeah, that Brave New Waves, that's cool.
Yep, good stuff.
Good stuff. Okay, well, Astrogenic Hallucinauting, Spike the Percussionist, Fiddle Witch, Child Man, Morgue City. Good Lord. All right. Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Great. Folks were calling. They were happy.
Yay.
They were happy, so thank you.
Go to my website, buy my stuff. Oh, actually, I was going to give you a couple of items, maybe some for the show, and also a couple extras to give away as prizes or something like that, if you ever want to do that on the show. I've got some vinyl.
Ooh, yeah.
And I have some CDs from a project that I was kind of ambitious to do. It was supposed to be 10 albums within a year. It took me a little longer. I think I got to issue 7, and then it kind of, it took a couple of years. But I'm on issue 10 right now, so.
But
I'm going to give you some of those.
So you can play.
Yes.
You can play some stuff and give some stuff away.
Awesome.
Yay.
Yeah, maybe give them a trivia question.
Oh. Yeah. Do you want to give something away right now?
Oh, gosh. What's the trivia question?
You should make up the trivia question. You said a whole bunch of stuff about a whole bunch of things, but you could ask a random trivia question so that the person who would enjoy the album, the trivia question would cater to them, and they would know that they have something soon for them. That's what I always used to. On the KTRU, I would always ask, if anyone was listening, I would ask questions to, so the right person would. Of course, people might Google it.
That's true.
But
yeah, they
cheat.
cheat.
Well, if they know the answer to that, they're going to love this album. So.
Ooh, this would be a tough one. What was the name of my radio show on KTRU? Oh. That would be a hardcore question. But I don't think anybody's going to get that.
Can I ask, is it still around?
No.
Did someone inherit it?
No. They actually kind of kicked me off. Oh, but I was on for several years.
So that's the trivia question.
No. Don't make that the trivia question.
Why not?
Well, okay. If they answer that question, they get vinyl and a noiz issue, one of the CDs.
Okay.
But I was thinking, well, this one might be pretty easy. The composer for the soundtrack to Blade Runner.
Oh, that's...
No.
Okay, I was gonna say
but they have to pronounce his name correctly, because most people pronounce it incorrectly.
I'm getting worried. I might be one of that. Usually I look it up, though.
Yeah, that's true.
They might be, so I better hurry up and give the phone number, which is 713-526-5738, which you should know from Fun Drive, 713-526-KPFT. If you would like to call here, and he will, I don't know the answer, so you're going to have to call, and then he will confirm. So maybe... we fade up some music for a little bit, and I want to thank you again for being on.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
I learned a whole bunch of stuff today.
Hey.
The Corpus Christi thing's still getting to me, and also Dirty Christmas is just, it bothers me. I don't know why it sounds so terrible.
I'm sure they'll appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, I guess you hear about Christmas.
It's just wrong.
It's weird. It's like a childhood kind
it's just
of
ruined.
Yeah, I don't. So, okay, we're going to put the music
back
up.
To the noiz.
713-526-5738 for the trivia question, 713-526-KPFT. And maybe repeat the trivia question one more time. It was the radio show you had at KTRU.
Right. The radio show, the name of my radio show at KTRU, it was very loud, and I screamed the entire time. So that's a hint. And then... the other question was the composer for the soundtrack to Blade Runner, but you have to pronounce his name correctly.
All right. So then we're going to say that now, 713-526-5738.
Safe.
Yay! I was hoping
Awesome.
I didn't ask you questions
Thank
for
you.
too long, but I always think like these little things that I wonder, like when I listen to the radio, I'm thinking, are other people wondering? But there was a lot of stuff that...
well, I'm glad you asked all those questions. Thank you. No, that was great. I enjoyed it.